shipping comic books. Let's talk about it on this edition of One on One. Hey guys, Kevin the Comic Doctor coming to you with another edition of One on One. And in this episode, I want to talk to you a little bit about packing your comics for shipping. And I get asked this question all the time. Hey Kev, how do you pack your comics when you're sending them to CGC? How do you pack your comics when you return your books to your clients? Well, I'm going to show you today. And you know what? There are millions of videos on YouTube on how to do this, but one step that I take is a little bit different than the rest. So I think you're going to really like this technique I've used, and it's something you can do as well too. Let's get to it right now. Okay, so first and foremost, I'm going to use a couple of Captain Marvel books here as an example. The one thing you want to do when you're shipping books, you want to ensure the books aren't shifting around like this inside the box, right? Of course, they're bagged and boarded, of course, right? Although I've received books that are not bagged and boarded, believe it or not. But you want to make sure the books are properly bagged and boarded, and you want to make sure the books are not shifting around inside the container in which you're shipping them. So how do you do that? Well, first you want to stack the books properly. And again, I see this oftentimes on YouTube. A lot of guys explain this. You don't want to stack your books proper. You don't want to stack them like this, spine to spine to spine. You want to shift them. So you want to alternate the spine. You want to alternate spine so every book is not, let me get back here a little bit like so. There you go. You see what I mean? So you're not getting, spine on one side here, the next one spine's on the other side. So you flip the book around and you stack it that way. And you do that so you're not putting any pressure on the spine, because if you're stacking 10 books together, the spine is going to be higher than the other side. Obviously, then you go to wrap it. Honestly, you want to keep things as even keel as possible, so you want to alternate the spines. That's the first thing. Then, again, how do I keep them from going like this? Well, what I do is very different than from most others. I see guys putting them, some guys will actually tape the books together. They'll put like 5 or 6 books, and they'll put a piece of tape there, and a piece of tape there, and a piece of tape there. And that'll work. That'll keep the books from moving around. What I don't like about that, though, is when you go to take the tape off the books, depending on the kind of tape they use, because sometimes, as you're taking the tape off, you can, believe it or not, cause spine stresses and other dents in the book, because oftentimes the tape is very strong, the adhesive is very strong. So I never liked that technique. So I don't use that technique. I always wanted to keep it tapeless. So what I did originally was I actually used to use like cling wrap or cellophane, and I'd wrap cellophane around the book. And that worked. That kept the book pretty taut and together as a nice bundle. But you couldn't do many because, the weight of the books, believe it or not, would loosen the cling wrap. And household, residential, cling wrap for the home is not strong. So the other technique I would use is I would use bags. I would take, like, say, 7 or 8 books, and I shove them in a magazine bag, and I'd wrap the magazine bag over, almost like a Christmas present. I'd wrap it, tape it, and that worked quite well. But then I figured, I'm going to try something different. And this is what I did. Check this out. Here's a picture. That's right. I shrink wrap my comics. And if you guys have received comic books from me, whether they be CGC'd already at graded books or raw books, this is how you would receive them back from me. I like to shrink wrap them, and it keeps them nicely bundled. Here I am shrink wrapping it. And here is the machine you would use, the heat gun I would use to shrink the wrap, to kind of keep the bundle together. And when it's all said and done, voila, you got a nice stack of books. I got around 15 books in this bundle here, and it's nice and it ain't going anywhere. Nice and strong. It's a fantastic way to keep the bundles together, and to remove them from this is usually there's little holes in the shrink wrap when you heat it up. But if not, a little blade like so, a quick little slice with a sharp blade, and the peel's right off nice and easy. Of course, I always put extra backing boards in the front and bottom, so when someone does cut it, it's not going to hurt any comics that are underneath. And it's a great way to bundle your comics and to keep them from shifting around inside your box. Now, I just don't shove it in the box like this. I also, because this could be damaged inside the box too, so I always want to have a buffer around the edge. So I like to, like most people, I would affix this bundle of comics to a board like this. So I would take this board like this, and I would take my bundle and I would affix it to this board. And then I would sandwich it in front, or I would sandwich it with another board like so. And that would give that little buffer area. If you notice that, it's about 1/2 inch to 1 inch around the whole package. That's what I like to do. Now, how do you affix that bundle into this board? So like I drew a little thing on here. These little lines on the edges here is where I would tape the bundle. I would tape it down, right, on the bottom board, and then the one I'd put on top, I would then tape again. Now I use packing tape for this. I have used the blue painter's tape, and that stuff's pretty darn good. It does work well, but I like the packing tape only because it's really quite strong. And to get the books out, I don't go crazy though. I put 4 pieces. That's it. So whoever's unpacking this, they have whoever's unpacking this, if they have a blade or a pair of scissors, they can cut through the packing tape really quite easily, and not even come close to the comic books. So that's how I do it. Once the bundle is done and it's sandwiched in between 2 boards, then again, I wrap it with lots of bubble wrap. I try to make another maybe 1.5 to 2 inches of bubble wrap all the way around it, put it in the box, off she goes. I make sure it's inside the box. I shake the box to make sure there's not too much movement, not too much play, and off she goes. It's worked out really, really well. How do you ship your comics? Do you do something like this as well? I'd like to know in the comment section below, and so would my other subscribers, because this, again, is a question I get all the time. Now, if you like the idea of using a shrink wrap machine, there are different ones you can buy. There are very simple ones you can buy. I've seen them in the secondhand market for like $30, for little tinier ones. It'll work just fine. The shrink wrap film, again, I've had one roll, and the roll's like this when I got it. It's now like about this, but it's lasted probably almost 5 years, and I've sent a lot of books out, believe me, and it's starting to get low now. I'm probably going to have to replace it pretty soon, but it is also not that expensive, and again, you'll find it at like Uline sells it, I know that, or any other commercial supplier, will have it as well too. You can even buy the shrink wrap machines from Uline as well, but again, you're paying new prices. I would look on the secondhand market. You'll be surprised. You'll find them at a great price. I'll tell you honestly, if I had a bit more room for shipping, I would actually like to get one of the little tunnels, those little like shrink wrap tunnels, and it'll do the proper shrink wrap. I'm sitting there with my heat gun, making the wrap shrink, which is fine, but more wires and nonsense and paraphernalia that I always trip over. It would be nice to have a little shrink wrap tunnel to use. You put them in one end and it comes out perfectly shrink wrapped. But anyhow, guys, that's the little trick that I use. And again, if you have access to such a machine, or you want to pick one up, you'll find them pretty cheap if you look for it. Again, I'd love to know what techniques you might use when you are shipping your books. What kind of tape are you using? Let us know in the comment section below. Again, a lot of subscribers ask me this question, so I figured I would finally address it. If you like this content, guys, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and by hitting the subscribe button, you also enter yourself in draws to win awesome free stuff from me. Have a look in the info section below for more information on that. A draw's coming up pretty soon, I hope. And until next time, my friends, take care. Bye for now.